and we are excited to have her talk about mindfulness during a pandemic and our well being. And so many of you may have seen her um, YouTube video previously to this, and if not, we have added it in the comments. And so during our session here tonight, we will be doing a live Q&A with our professor, Dr. Karen Wells. So please drop your comments in our comment chat box here, and we will get to them as we see them. And so we have, as I mentioned, Professor Karen Wells, who is very active with the PACE, the Professional Counseling Education Center, and she's been teaching at Oakland University for 16 years, which is amazing. So we're happy to have her answer our questions. So we'll just jump right in. And you said that many of the questions that you get, Karen, is about your well-being and your mindfulness and that your mind wanders. Lots of people say their mind wanders, especially during this time. So how can we be more mindful? Do you have any tips for us?
I do, and it's a great question, and it's one every time I present, I get that question. And people will often say something like, I'm trying to be in the moment, but my mind is wandering. And that's exactly what our minds are programmed to do. So it's mindfulness really is not about clearing or stopping our mind. It's inviting our mind to kind of speak to us. What is there? So, and I often point out to the fact that a Harvard study indicated that even when people are saying, I'm paying attention to this, that they find that their mind has wandered at least 47% of the time. So when we think about that, that's what happens. So it does take practice to be in that moment, to be mindful. And that's what it's all about. It becomes like a discipline. And then we could say, am I being mindful? I know I do this like right now for this part is like, I am here with you now so that I can listen to what the questions are from other people. That's what helps me. I am here with you now.
Perfect. Well, Emily has a question similar to that, is when is the best time to practice mindfulness?
So, another really important question. I happen to be a night owl, so
Me too.
so that's my thing. And it could be midnight, it could be 1 in the morning, and it's just like this really calming time to be present, fully present. But I'll also use that when something is coming up that is really important for me. It could be a little stressful. It's like, do you ever have that feeling like, okay, I'm being triggered by something? And then you say, um, as soon as I know I'm being triggered, my next thought is there's something I can do about it, and it's mindfulness. So then I might do a breathing or a calming exercise. But I know other people are morning people and they like to start their day off that way. But I just think any time is a good time for practicing mindfulness. Thank you.
Great. Laura says she falls asleep when she tries to practice her mindfulness. What might we be doing wrong? I might be guilty of that too.
Oh my goodness. So, and that's so true because there are several things. One, we are sleep deprived, right? I mean, it's just like that's how we live. So, I actually call it a yoga nap. So, anyone
That
who
sounds fun.
practices yoga, you just kind of, okay, I think I drifted off. And I see it as a good thing. It's like I always say to people in a training, you'll hear what you need to hear from my guidance. And if your inner guidance takes you to something else, that's where you need to be. So I view a snooze as a good thing. The first year I taught the medical students here at Oakland, I encouraged them to bring yoga mats or a blanket or anything. I said, let's do this lying down. And within, I would say, a minute and a half, there was heavy snoring. And it's again, sleep deprived. So I view that with a smile. It's like, there we go.
Listening to what your body needs, maybe.
That's right. Yeah,
Hey, at least it's clearing your mind, right? Mm,
that's right. There you are.
calming sense.
Yeah, you're just entering a quiet place. Now, I went through training with Jon Kabat-Zinn, and there we would do the body scan, which is great actually for if you've ever had insomnia. And we said to him, we're having trouble staying awake. And he said, well, you could stand for this particular practice. I never did that because I thought this is so calming to me. I'm going to be standing, and next thing I know, I'll be on the ground. But so that's something else. But it is true. Mindfulness helps us to stay awake in that regard.
Great tips. Let's see here. We have a question from Joan. How do I stay mindful during this unprecedented time of COVID-19? It's so challenging.
That's exactly true. And it really asks us to say, what are we feeling? And whatever it is that we're feeling, it could be worry, it could be fear, it could be anger, it could be a variety of things. And we just give ourselves permission to feel what we're feeling. And then I call it enter the storm because it's there already. And then we are aware of what we're feeling. If we're able to sit with it where it's not too traumatic, then we might get some real insights about what's happening and what we're feeling. If it becomes overwhelming, then we just change that channel and we just go back to what is a grounding exercise that was I did during our session, and that is you maybe feel your feet on the floor, which I'm feeling right now, hands on your knees, and you just you bring yourself back. But it might take a daily effort, and you might say, okay, I just went through that 9 in the morning, it's 10:30, it's back. And that's the thing, instead of speaking to ourselves with a harsh criticism like, why am I so upset? Other people are doing fine. They're out there skateboarding, they're riding their bike. I'm feeling all tense. Instead of a harsh voice, we just give ourselves that compassionate feeling about, I'm going to take care of myself right now. So is it a challenge? It is a challenge. Is it possible? It is. And there are several things that we can do. One could even be just going outside for 5 minutes, and you look outside at the trees, seeing dogs being walked by their owners, and flowers that are out there, fall flowers, anything, Halloween decorations. It doesn't matter. And you just, when you do something and it's outside, it often, A, is a distraction, and B, it allows us to enter in the moment with appreciation. Like, oh, look at that neat Halloween decoration, that kind of thing. So it allows us to keep practicing that. So it really gets then into gratitude and awareness.
Those are great tips. I'm definitely appreciating the fall colors right now before winter comes as well. So, encourage everyone to get outside. We have another question from Emily. She says she feels like she is connected online 24/7 these days. So, how can we be more mindfully connected, maybe away from our computers?
Well, and that's in the mindful literature, it's called real Zoom fatigue. And we understand that. And I think to be able to say, time for me, that me time is really key. So it's partly boundaries. Now, it doesn't mean that we can have full control of that because we have jobs and family and friends and people who need us. And yet we know that there are people, even first responders, they have to pull back. There's a phrase that's put on your own oxygen mask before helping the little or the big people in the seats next to you. And essentially, we follow the advice from the airlines with that regard. So we really have to say, what do I need right now? And it gets back to that compassionate voice, self compassion. What do I need, and what can I do right now? So
It reminds me of you can't pour from an empty cup saying.
it's true. It's true. You remind me of something. In when I do sessions and trainings, I always say, "How's the gas in your gas tank?" And then they might say, "In my car," and I'll say, "No, your emotional gas tank." And so, what do we need to do to fill that? And then you know what? I have always found that we have a wisdom, inner wisdom of our body that tells us what we need. We often just don't allow it, and especially if we are caregivers for other people, big and little. And there are times that we need to say, "Okay, what do I need for 5 minutes?"
Wonderful. Well, that is our last question for rehearsal today. So we will head back to the Zoom and thank you everybody for your questions. At the end of this session, you will see a slide that tells us more about where you can find information on Professor Cairnswell's research and how to get more connected with Oakland University. And we encourage you all to stay connected and join us for the rest of homecoming week activities at the oakland.edu/homecoming